stuff. But anyway, here we have it, guys. Going to be looking at Vicioussatsuma with the Tomb Kings taking on BBB, Pacifist Warlord with the Greenskins. This is round one between these two fine players, and RTK, BBB clans being represented, and England and Spain, respectively. Now, did I turn something off on accident? No? Okay, guess we're good. That's what I did. I turned on going live every time. Anyway, so let's start with our blue player here, shall we? With the Tomb Kings being led by RTK Vicioussatsuma, or Vicioussatsuma, whichever you prefer. We're going to have Tomb Guard. Looks like two of them up front. Going to have one with halberds in the center. We got King Nikesh's Scorpion Legion on the Tomb King right flank. Got another unit of Skeleton Spearmen accompanying a Casket of Souls down here on the ground. Got some big old beetles buzzing around it. We're going to be seeing a unit of Skeleton Chariots. I love these guys, and they can do some mean work to Greenskin Infantry if they get the right charges off. And then we're going to have some Nehekara Horsemen over here on the left flank. And for the remainder of this Tomb King force, we're going to have another Nehekara Horseman accompanied by some Necropolis Knights over here, just the regular variant, no halberds on top of them. And then for the leadership and the monsters, we're going to have a Tomb Scorpion. We got some carrion up in the air. We're going to have a Necrotect with Restore, and which one is that? It's not Vambraces of the Sun, is it? Oh, it is Vambraces of the Sun. We have Archon the Black on foot. He's going to have the Tomb Blade of Archon along with Staff of Nagash, the Liber Mortis, and Doom and Darkness with Spirit Leech. I think that rounds out this army, and it sure does. So let's see what the Greenskins have brought to the field for us. Starting out with the leader here, we have the Goblin Great Shaman coming out on top of his big old Ragnarok Spider with the Spiderwick Shrine. Going to have Don't Even Think About It, Crown of Command. Is that the name? Yeah. Along with Arcane Conduit, Itchy Nuisance, Vindictive Glare, Sneaky Stabbin', and Sneaky Stillin'. Other than that, we have Doomdiver Catapults. Ooh, Tomb Kings are in for a rough start, I think, considering that's on the field. We're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 Goblins up front. We have Orc Airboys with the Rusty Air supporting them, and then we're going to have 2 more for a total of 3 Orc Airboys. Aside from that, we're going to have in the back line Orc Biggins, looks like 2 of them, along with 3 Forest Goblin Spider Riders. We had a Black Orc Big Boss here in the center line. Looks like he's going to be on foot, and he's going to be bringing his Immune to Psychology ability, which I always forget the name of, which is the Rabble Rouse. Over here, Doomdiver Catapult really just going buck wild into the Casket of Souls, and the Casket of Souls, I like that it's not even trying to win the artillery duel at this point. It's just trying to kill as much Greenskin Infantry as possible, but I do not think it's going to gain any value considering how this is going so far. Oh, that Vindictive Glare just did nasty work. The Liber Mortis physical resistance doesn't matter against that magic missile, and I think this volley may be the last one. And it just looks like this thing's fate has been sealed, and we're going to be seeing the dominance of the Greenskin artillery on the field of battle, and with that little victory, the balance of power is going to shift to dead even for the Greenskins here. Now it looks like the Greenskins are turning their attention to this Tomb Scorpion. I like the targeting of the Greenskin artillery so far, and the Greenskins at this point, they can really just sit back, play it patiently. They have no rush. As long as they have those Doomdiver Catapults firing, they have the advantage. And as long as time is passing, I think that advantage is going to continue to grow as they get more and more value against the Tomb King units they target. And it looks like the Necropolis Knights are next. This looks like they may each be making different targeting decisions. One is targeting the Necropolis Knights, and the other one is targeting the Tomb Scorpion. Vindictive Glare going down on top of the Necrotech this time, doing a nice bit of damage, and Goblin Great Shaman's looking pretty good. And, you know, as far as things for him to worry about, I don't see too many. You know, the Halberds will be the main threat for him, along with perhaps the Doom Scorpion, but other than that, you know, I think the Greenskins have a pretty good composition to deal with the Tomb King army in front of them. However, Chariot's getting some nasty damage, Goblins just falling to pieces, and it looks like the Tomb Kings are going to try to press an advantage. Orc Biggins coming in to counter the Necropolis Knights and the Hekara Horsemen. Spider Riders coming in to help plug the gap too. And we'll see what can happen here. Over here, Itchy Nuisance going down on top of the Tomb King forces, and that's going to be a significant debuff to their combat effectiveness, as you see their base damage and melee attack getting debuffed significantly. Over here, Wa going down. Tomb Guard is going to be cleaving their way through the Goblins, and the Greenskins will want to get this combat done sooner rather than later, honestly. Because if they don't win this left flank engagement soon, the Goblins are going to break. That's an inevitability. And then I think the Greenskins are going to have a much tougher time protecting their archers from this Tomb King onslaught. Tomb Scorpion knocking the Black Orc Big Boss out of the pocket, and now it does look like the infantry engagements are swinging in favor of the Tomb Kings. And as I just mentioned, you can see them breaking through the front line and trying to come into the back lines now. And we'll see if they're able to get anything running. Right now, the Tomb Scorpion is going to get double teamed by the Black Orc Big Boss and the Goblin Great Shaman, and that will not be fun at all. Over here, Sneaky Stabbing going down on top of the the Black Orc Big Boss, and a Spirit Leech going down on top of him. So, doing some nice damage here, and balance of power significantly in favor of the Greenskins. But I mean, looking across the field, you can see that the Tomb King infantry has done a beautiful job of winning that frontline engagement and is now pressing forward and routing a lot of the Greenskin archer forces. And you can see the balance of power going right back to even now. The Doomdiver Catapult getting routed here. Going to see the Auric Arrow Boys getting routed here. And a lot of the Greenskin key units like the Biggins and, you know, the Leadership Squad are doing just fine. But the Tomb Kings just really did a number on them in terms of being able to route all that very expensive ranged power and artillery, and that's going to give them quite the edge in the balance of power, which, you know, at the moment is really what's important. Over here, we have the Tomb Guards with Halberds accompanying Archon the Black and the Necrotech, chasing down Pacifist Warlords, Goblin Great Shaman, and I just don't know how this battle's going to end, guys. It's looking really, really even, going back in favor of the Greenskins just a bit. But if the Tomb Kings can find a way to keep up the pressure, you know, they'll be okay. Here come the Skeleton Chariots, really trying to get on top of these archers, but the Forest Goblin Spider Riders are coming in behind them, trying to keep them from doing that. And I think we have the Ushabti Summon coming in right here, and that will probably be the nail in the coffin for these poor little Gobbo archers, as Chariots and Ushabti combined together are going to be more than enough to deal with them. So over here, Biggins getting singled out by all of the Tomb King forces, and man, we have ourselves a ball game here, guys. It just keeps going back and forth, back and forth. Wa got popped. The Ushabti going to be taking care of the Forest Goblin Spider Riders while the Chariots are doing a good job against the archers. Will these archers be able to get finished off, or will they survive? I am not sure. Chariots continuing to get focused by the Forest Goblin Spider Riders. We're a very nice tool to counter that Chariot play, I have to say. The poison is nice, their mass is good, and yeah, they're really paying dividends here. But yeah, the Greenskins doing a good job of regrouping around the battlefield. You can see the Black Orc Big Boss hanging back. There's archers over here firing into the Tomb Kings as they continue to chase the Goblin Great Shaman, and it looks like the Ushabti Summon diving into the front to try to help pin that Goblin Shaman in place, but I don't know if they're going to last long enough for the heroes of the Tomb Kings to catch up and start laying down some damage of their own. They're about to run out any second now, but every second counts, and this Goblin Great Shaman is starting to take some significant damage. It's really starting to stack up, and there goes the Spirit Leech. The Tomb Scorpion is coming in for a charge, and the Tomb Guard with Halberds are in there too. But there goes the summon. It just timed out, and now the Goblin Great Shaman should be able to escape. Oh man, if the Tomb Kings can save this Chariot, that would be very, very, very valuable in the late game, as those Chariots can just melt all of the Greenskin infantry with good charges. but the Spider Riders are really putting a lot of pressure on them. They are at critical mining now, and the Spider Riders are beginning to terror route, so that might be just enough to keep them in the game with 5 models. But yeah, unfortunately for the Tomb Kings, what's happening, as you can see here, is the Greenskins, although they were getting routed a lot initially, have pretty much just formed an entire circle with regrouped units around the Tomb King forces. So the Tomb Kings have this strong blob here in the middle, but all of the Greenskin archers are regrouping, and they all have really good ammunition still. And it looks like this Doomdiver catapult may be even feeling lucky enough to run back to an artillery piece. And look at that, there's already 2 of these guys just sitting in there, cocked back, ready to go, like, hey, who's gonna pull the switch? I'm ready to kill myself in the name of Mork or Gork, one of those 2. Yeah, at this point it's looking like Pacifist Warlord is starting to gain a significant lead in the balance of power. Terror going to kick in down here, I imagine, on top of the Forest Goblin Spider Riders. But not before the Skeleton Chariots are going to crumble. And I imagine that will be the end of the Skeleton Chariots. A big loss for the Tomb Kings, especially at this stage in the battle where every little thing counts. Doomdiver Catapult is back online. And now the Greenskins are pulling in all of their infantry. You got the Black Orc Big Boss, you got the Biggins. It's just going to be Tomb Guard with Halberd versus all of the Greenskin infantry. And with that, I think we're going to see a Greenskin victory as the archers just begin pouring in arrow after arrow. The Tomb Scorpion is coming in to fight. Oh, a huge hit on top of the Necrotech, though. Devastating damage going in there. And will the Tomb Scorpion be able to get in there and save the day or not? That is the question. 44% physical resistance because of the Livor Mortis. And look at that. Tomb Scorpion knocking the Black Orc Big Boss right out of the pocket, allowing that Necrotech to catch his breath and quite likely survive an inevitable death that was awaiting him. And will, I guess as long as the Black Orc Big Boss is here, terror won't kick in, but the Greenskin infantry is starting to look tattered. And look at that, some of them are just routing by themselves, no terror needed. And man, oh man, what's going to happen here? Black Orc Big Boss staying on top of that Tomb Scorpion. The Tomb Scorpion needs to be moving, needs to be doing something, but he's just getting shot down. And unless the Tomb Kings can kill off this Black Orc Big Boss right now, I don't think they're going to be able to survive. Yeah, Doomdiver Catapult hitting that Tomb Scorpion, doing some devastating damage. And yeah, Goblin Great Shaman taking some damage, but looks like they're going to be able to win out here in the end. Oh, there it goes. The Tomb Scorpion has fallen. The Goblin Great Shaman, though, is wavering. Looks like some friendly fire may be hitting it from that Doomdiver Catapult. And now the Black Orc Big Boss is getting targeted by all of the Tomb King leadership. Will they be able to kill him? Yeah, there goes a rout. Necrotech and Archon are still alive, but I think it's too little too late, and we're going to see a Greenskin victory nonetheless. But a beautiful first game between these 2 players, and congratulations to BBB Pacifist Warlord for taking this first round against the Tomb Kings. I mean, but although the casket was lost there in the beginning, it was a very rough loss. Vicioussatsuma still did a good job, I would say, you know, bringing it back, making it a very close fight. Really good kills on the Tomb Guard and the Chariots. And yeah, for losing 1,200 that quickly in the battle, that's an easy thing to get a player tilted. But I have to say, all things considered, Vicious continued to play that well. And when he got that big center line route going, I thought he could potentially seal the deal there. And, you know, in hindsight, I'm trying to think what I would have recommended him do differently. And honestly, I think I guess I needed to pay more attention to the Hekara Horsemen and what they were doing. But to me, once all those units started routing, The Nehekar horsemen should have been there, routing the units off the map in the back line. Obviously easier said than done, but in my experience, Nehekar horsemen can defeat Forest Goblin Spider Riders quite convincingly. But as always, as the third party person here just watching from a overview perspective, it's easy to point these things out. It's very hard to execute them as the player. So Pacifist Warlord, congrats there. I like the build a lot. The double Doomdiver Catapult really paid off for him. Was able to eliminate that Casket of Souls so early, and as so many of you I'm sure are aware, Casket of Souls against Greenskin, it can absolutely destroy their infantry in a very quick manner. Match point for Pacifist Warlord. Let's see if Vicioussatsuma can stay in here. Now he is bringing his Greenskins to take on the Skaven, led by Pacifist Warlord. This is round 2 of their match. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, let's start with our red player this time and take a look at what the Skaven have brought for us. So, Clan Rat Spears, 3 of them, and then just regular Clan Rats, 3 of them. He's going to have a healthy supply of slaves in the form of 3 Skaven Slave Spears. It looks like we're going to have 2 Poison Wind Mortars, 3 units of Rat Ogres. We got a Hell Pit Abomination here, and some Doom Flayers. Oh man, I do love the Skaven. Other than this, taking a higher level view, I think we just have some leadership to cover. And it's going to be an Assassin, of course on foot as always with Concealment Bomb, Assassin's Trophy, and the Rival Hide Talisman. Mako Nimad 84, thank you for the follow. And then it looks like for the actual leader of this army, we're going to have a Grayseer of Plague. Going to have Arcane Conduit, going to be on top of it, Screaming Bale, got Warpstone Scroll, Vermintide, Blessed with Filth, as well as Unholy Clamor, and the dreaded 13th spell. Let's see if that comes into play here, and that's always a fun one. And we got the mounted bound ability of Scorch, along with Plague Rash and Portents of Verminous Doom. For the Greenskins, we're going to have a front line made up of 5 Goblin Wolf Rider Archers, a very strong front line of skirmishers here, and that could do a lot of work against the Hell Pit Abomination and those Rat Ogres with their low armor. Going to have the Durkit Squighoppers, a nice answer to Doom Flayers and Doom Wheels with Forest Goblin Spider Riders behind them. We have Orc Boys, looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 of them total. Aside from that, we have some generic Gobos on the left flank. We're going to have Stone Trolls, looks like 2 of them here. The 8-Peak Loonies. And then we're going to have another unit of Forest Goblin Spider Riders, as well as a Goblin Big Boss on top of a Wolf. They need stabbing, as all he'll have. We've got a giant River Troll Hag with Spirit Leech, as well as Doom and Darkness over here. Oh no, just kidding. Aspect of the Dread Knight with Mither and Overwhelming Odor. And then Grom the Punch, a pretty popular pick against the Skaven now. He has the Axe of Grom. He's also going to have Lucky Banner. And the Great Un is here with Language of the Boys. Now, mortars are going to start firing away, and it looks like they're going to be trying to counter the Greenskin skirmishing. Not the best counter skirmishing against Wolf Riders, since they do have great speed, and if they're microed well, they can avoid a lot of the shots. But as you just saw, even one shot connecting can mean a lot of damage for these poor Wolf Rider archers. So the Skaven seem to be feeling the pressure to move forward. The Goblin Wolf Rider archers are really just kind of firing wherever they can. I think the Poison Wind Mortars aren't going to be the best target. Their 70 armor is going to be enough to ignore most of the incoming fire from these Goblin Wolf Rider archers. The Skaven Slaves, not a bad target. You know, they're unarmored. They'll take the most damage, but you have to remember they're very cheap at 150, so not going to be getting a ton of value there, and you'll be losing ammunition. And now the mortars opening fire again, and just look at the damage they do. These Poison Wind Mortars really great counter skirmishing tool, even against units like this, where normally I would say, yeah, these guys should be able to dodge. It's just quite a task on taxing on your micro to try to avoid every one of these lobbies, and it looks like he's doing well. But like I said, even if you dodge 4 out of 5 shots, that one shot that gets in does that 10 seconds of damage over time, and it really is doing a number to these Goblin Wolf Rider archers. And so far, I think the Skaven looking a bit stronger as a result of these trades. Right here, though, are going to see that a Spirit Leech has done a number on top of these Poison Wind Mortars. They still have full model counts, but one more Spirit Leech and that could change very, very quickly. Another Spirit Leech hitting the Poison Wind Mortars, and they're getting targeted by some fire in the back from the Goblin Wolf Rider archers. They're going to be down to 8 models this time, and we'll see if they can get any value. Looks like they're going to turn around and try to open fire here on top of these Wolf Riders. Will any of the shots land, or will they be able to escape unscathed? This next volley is looking a little bit precarious, and it looks like it might hit both of them, and indeed it shall. Going back to the front lines, though, it looks like the Greenskins are done skirmishing, and they are coming out to play. Stone Troll's going to be leading the charge into the Skaven forces, and we will see what happens from here. Hellpit Abomination going to be diving into the Stone Trolls. Grom the Paunch is coming forward to play as well. And yeah, this frontline engagement is going to be very key. If the Skaven can hold it off, keep their formation together, and let those mortars do work, they should be able to survive. If not, I think we'll be seeing the Green Tide overwhelm the Skaven army. Oh no! Oh, just kidding. That was the dreaded 13th spell. Well, actually, yeah, it's a bummer that the explosion didn't hit this blob. That would have done a crazy amount of work, but the Storm Vermin are still here. Ooh, excuse me. The Storm Vermin are still here, and they're coming into the back. Unholy Clamor going down across the field of battle, increasing that Skaven leadership. Rat Ogres in combat with some Stone Trolls in the back line, but I have to be honest, I'm having a hard time seeing who's getting the upper hand here. The Greenskins seem like they've been able to break through at some key parts, but in terms of the key engagements on the front line, you know, I also see some terror kicking in. Hellpit Abomination and the Doom players doing a number on top of this Stone Troll, and you know, guess we'll see what happens, but so far looking pretty even. Maybe Greenskin favored, and oh man, as I say that, I come over here and I see all this damage on top of the Gracier of Plague, and yeah, that's painful to see. Those guys cannot afford to be taking this much damage this early on. A Spirit Leech going down on top of the Gracier of Plague, and now Grom the Paunch is on top of him, and it's going to be really, really hard to get him off his tail, because Grom has good speed and good mass, and it looks like this Gracier of Plague is going to be in a world of hurt pretty soon here. Dirkit Squigs now getting on top of him to keep that pressure up. Hellpit Abomination still doing okay, but it's just kind of tied up over here, fighting against Stone Trolls, and the Orc Boys and the Gracier of Ruin is going to start routing from there. Meanwhile, though, we do see that the Skaven on this side of the battlefield maybe can get some regrouping going. Forest Goblin Spider Riders going to try their best to prevent that from being the case. And yeah, now I come back over here, and the Skaven army, it just looks like the back has been broken. And the Greenskins are going to be pushing forward with a vengeance, and Vicioussatsuma really flexing those Greenskin muscles here against the Skaven. I don't see how they can pull it back from here. So, well played, and it looks like we're going to be going to a round 3 between these two fine players. Oh man, a Spirit Leech going down on the Gracier again just when he regained his leadership. Got the Wolf Rider archers pinning him in place from this side. And the Hero Hit Squad on the other side. Hellpit Abomination, kind of the sole survivor of this Skaven army that's keeping everything together. Poison Wind Mortars have a couple of shots going off, but it's going to be too little too late. We're going to see a rather convincing Greenskin victory there. Yeah, very, very good game. I like this build a lot. It had pretty much every tool he needed. Although he took a lot of damage on this wolf archers, it didn't really matter too much in the end. These guys are 350 apiece, right? So, 700, 1400. So, when you're looking at this, like, for 2,000 points, I think it's a very, very viable way to go about it. And even though they took some damage, they were still able to be useful in the late game there. You saw, even after they ran out of ammunition, were able to pin units in place, chase off routing Skaven units. And yeah, I really just don't think the front line of this Skaven army had enough meat to hold back a true Greenskin Wa, I do think this is a matchup that I would say is Greenskins favored. Overall, not like a crazy lopsided match, but I think when you're going into the Greenskins, you really need to be aware of what you're going to do to counter their infantry. In this one, I think clan rats are fine, but really it's just like, for me, no matter what the Greenskins brought, it's like I don't see the Skaven army really holding back the infantry rush. Like, imagine if these were just Savage Orc Biggins, and it would have been even more terrifying for the Greenskins, because then your Rat Ogres also, like, Rat Ogres can at least fight Orc Boys and do okay, but Orc Board Biggins or something like that, and they'll just get absolutely trounced. But once again, hindsight's 20/20. I do like some of the initial plays here from Pacifist Warlord, but clearly these seem to be two evenly matched players, and that's why we're going to a round 3. So let's see who comes out on top. Here it is, guys. Round 3, match point for whoever wins this one. And it's going to be RTK Vicioussatsuma taking on BBB, Pacifist Warlord. High Elves versus the Vampire Coast. And once again, it is the UK versus Spain. Will the Spanish Armada be defeated before they make landing on English soil? But here we go. Without further ado, let's cover the armies. And I'm going to start with the Vampire Coast. Looks like we have 5 zombie pirate deckhand mob, 2 bombers, and then we're going to have 3 handguns with some deck gunners. And then we're going to have 2 scurvy dogs. I gotta love seeing them here. Got some deck droppers with bombs. We have a lovely rotting Leviathan. Looks like it just found a fresh new shithole to use as its shell. And for the leadership and artillery, we're going to have 2 units of mortars, as well as Count Noctilus, a lord and an artillery piece right here. He's going to be bringing Captain Ross Moondial, Wraith Storm, Arcane Conduit, Invocation to Heck, and the Drowned Dead. Now, going over the High Elf army for our blue player, Vicioussatsuma. Going to have up front 3 units of Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers. Going to have them backed up by Sisters of Averlorn and the Talons of Tor Kaleda. These guys have the ability to imbue flammable on top of enemies, increasing their weakness to fire damage. And when you have 2 Sisters of Averlorn and the Talons of Tor Kaleda that all do fire damage, that will be some nice synergy. Going to see 3 Rangers in the back line, along with 2 Illyrian Reavers and 1 Illyrian Reaver Archer. For the remainder of this army, we're going to have a couple Archers, looks like. Oh wow, interesting, with light armor up front. We're going to have a 3rd one over here in the woods next to some of the Illyrian Reavers. And looks like we're going to have a 4th one with light armor on the far right flank. Up in the air, we have an Archmage of light magic with Net of Mintok, Shem's Burning Gaze, and Exorcism with Arcane Conduit. So, interesting build from Vicioussatsuma, and I'm curious to see how it does. Very much just relying on this very powerful ranged force to shoot down the Vampire Coast. So the Scurvy Dogs are definitely going to have their work cut out for them. And same with the Cav. The Rangers should be able to effectively counter a lot of the zombies, but with all the summons going down, we're going to see if these High Elves can keep their archers firing away, because if they start getting clogged up, I think that's going to spell doom for the High Elves. However, Count Noctilus really going to have to play it safe with 3 Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers on the field of battle. I always hear dick hands when it comes to the pirate deckhands. What's your name, guys? Say it. Guess they don't feel chatty. They're just kind of grunting right now. But here it comes. The battle is underway, and we're immediately going to see everything targeting Count Noculus. And Count Noculus, I imagine, is going to pull back once he realizes the full scope of what he's up against. Because 3 Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers is not something he wants to walk deeper into. But deeper into it he goes, and look, that's going to be 9 bolts per volley, and he wants nothing to do with that. Here comes the Shem's Burning Gaze. What kind of damage will it do? It'll do a nice bit of damage. Looks like it'll connect completely. Invocation from the Heck already going down from Pacifist Warlord. And the High Elves look like they have the advantage in terms of the long-range pressure. The Vampire Coast is not going to be able to ignore them. I am concerned a little bit. I mean, I like that they're shooting Count Noculus, but then again, I don't at the same time, because he's one of those units where you can spend a lot of time and resources soaking fire into him, only to see him wander off and then heal right back up. Whereas, maybe some scatter shot ammunition on top of deck gunners and some of these other units. Maybe? I don't know. But either way, they're getting some very good damage against Count Noculus so far. And I would imagine without the Invocation of the Heck, he's probably already below the half health mark for his initial HP pool. On top of this, the Vampire Coast just looks like they're feeling apprehensive about closing the gap, because once they do close the gap, they're going to have to rush for it as quickly as possible. But I think they see there's a lot of High Elf archers up there waiting for them, and maybe easier said than done. But now Count Noculus, he's so far forward, at this point he can't effectively retreat back outside of the range of fire from the Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers. And this is really going to be keeping the Vampire Coast on their heels, I think. Count Noculus is going to be the linchpin, as is the case with many vampire armies. You need that Vampire Lord to keep everybody stalwart, keep them from crumbling. But looks like the High Elves are using their archers now to target down the bombers. Very nice target prioritization, I do have to say. And unless something is done quickly, I really don't see these bombers surviving much longer. Scurvy Dogs being forced to protect the backlines and the mortars as the Lyrian Reavers are applying some pressure to the backlines. Scurvy Dogs won't stand a chance in combat against them, and so it does look like they're just avoiding it altogether. But Pacifist Warlord, once again, I just have to emphasize, it looks like he's in a bad position with Count Noculus. Count Noculus at this point is so far in the range of fire of the High Elf artillery that he just really doesn't have an option besides to try to push forward and close that gap and get melee combat going. But at this moment, it looks like the High Elves are doing a beautiful job of countering the Vampire Coast army here. Rangers are diving forward to intercept the Zombie Pirate Deckhand mob, where they will absolutely trounce that low-tier infantry in combat. They're tailor-made for it. And Count Noculus looks like he may be going down due to a stiff breeze here in just a moment. Invocation from the Heck looks like it was about to be cast, or no, that was actually a summon on top of one of the Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers, but there he goes! He's down for the count! And Count Noculus is out of the fight. The Vampire Coast officially has no leadership, and I don't think, besides the Shem's Burning Gaze or two, we have seen any damage or any magic use from the Archmage of Light, which means Net of a Mintok on top of the Rotting Leviathan, basically going to be inevitable at this point. And as you can see, it is getting that weakness to fire, the flammable trait imbued on top of it. And with the Sisters of Avalorn and the Talons of Torquilada in range, this Rotting Leviathan is, its life is on a timer. Will there be a Net of a Mintok to keep it in place so they can finish it off? Guess time will only tell. I imagine he must not have enough magic for it now, otherwise I don't see him not using that as quickly as possible. Lyrian Reaver archers getting killed off by the deck gunners and the handguns with the help of some Scurvy Dogs to chase them off for good. But the rest of the Vampire Coast army is just looking really, really tattered, and the balance of power is just not going too well. The artillery from the High Elves has gone into scattershot mode. It looks like they're focusing on the handguns now. so far the Vampire Coast has not been able to compromise the back lines. It looks like they're trying to do that right now. Scurvy Dogs coming over here and hitting the archers with light armor. I'm curious to see if that light armor, which brings it up to 40, is going to be a big differentiator in being able to survive against the Scurvy Dogs. But oh my goodness gracious, it looks like the Scurvy Dogs aren't even going to be able to get that victory under their belt, and the balance of power is just really shifting further and further away from the Vampire Coast. So kind of looks to me like the High Elves are going to be winning here. Vicioussatsuma will continue on in the winner bracket, and I think Pacifist Warlord after this round is going to be sent down to losers bracket to try his luck against Crabbling. Rangers are coming out, and yeah, I have to say this army was quite a convincing win, and just seems like Pacifist Warlord had a hard task ahead of him from the outset there. The 3 Eagle Claw bolt throwers with Noctilus is just not a fun thing to go up against, especially when you don't have carronades or something of your own to try to counter those Eagle Claw bolt throwers. And unfortunately, as we saw there, they just kind of set the pace of the game, and I think the Vampire Coast kind of walked into the jaws of the beast there. Seems like they were caught off guard by the overwhelming artillery that Vicioussatsuma brought to the field. That really pressured him. He felt like he needed to move forward. I honestly think sitting back and letting the mortars do some more work, playing it a little less aggressive before you get into range of the High Elf archers might have played a bit better. Maybe try to use Count Noctilus a bit. You see, that's what I say. Against 3 Eagle Claw bolt throwers, it would just be a tall order for Noctilus to be able to kill him off. And the High Elves had just enough light cavalry to really make it nearly impossible for the Scurvy Dogs to get on top of those archers and do any real work. And besides that, all these archers have light armor or are Sisters of Avigorn, and that makes them a lot more tanky when it comes to Scurvy Dog play. So I've never seen these guys in tournaments, to be completely honest. Armored light armor archers are just really not a common pick. But in hindsight, I think it makes some sense in this matchup, because if the only mobility you're worrying about is Scurvy Dogs, then, you know, the armor actually will help against them, since they really don't have armor piercing to speak of. So great games to both of these players, and congrats to Satsuma for moving forward into the winners bracket, while Pacifist Warlord will be sent down to losers bracket.